else.
14 inches.
Starting a new career. Yeah, this is really cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.F. Harris.
Florida, we are doing it. What's up? I like that I got the laugh on the Florida. She was like, yes, Florida, very funny. Yeah. I've actually been spending my pandemic down here in Florida. I did my quarantine here, which was pretty amazing because 50% of the people in Florida believe in COVID, and the other 50% will have you spit in their mouth to prove they're not gay. So. Shit was wild down here. People in Florida treated COVID like it was a TV show on Netflix. They just binged it last March and then just forgot about it. You'd be out and you'd bring it up like, oof, that COVID shit was crazy. And they'd be like, oh, I didn't watch that one. I'm not into sci-fi. So, yeah. They'd be like, I watched Tiger King, though. That was pretty good. I wasn't planning on being down here for the pandemic. What happened was I came to visit my parents, and then COVID happened, and now I'm retired. So, yeah. It's going pretty great. I'm going to buy some white New Balances tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going to get into golf and racism next, you know. All the Florida shit. What is it about being 100 years old that makes you want to have Velcro in your shoes and to be able to use the N-word freely? I'm asking for my dad's neighbor. Those walls are very thin, and I know he's not listening to ODB, so. Yeah, he's into the Klan, just not the Wu-Tang one. This dude has the biggest Confederate flag I've ever seen in my life hanging off his porch. It's insane. Like, picture a car dealership big, now double it, right? I know, and I know a lot of people say that that flag's about the history, but that one, definitely about the racism. I don't get the Confederate flag. Maybe it's because I grew up in New York, but it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, having a Confederate flag is like having photos of your ex-girlfriend up all over your apartment. And then inviting your new girlfriend over to your apartment. And being like, oh, these? No, it's nothing weird. It's just about our history together. Oh, what do I want to do for fun? I was thinking maybe you could dress up as my ex-girlfriend. We'd go back to our old apartment, reenact fights we used to have. Yeah, for the history. What would we fight about? Slavery. What side was I on? Never mind, I gotta go get a tattoo removed. Don't worry who Dixie is. It's crazy. I'm living in Florida. I'm crashing with my parents right now. 38 years old. I'm crashing with my parents. It's fucked up. This was not the plan, you know? Shit was going very well before the pandemic for me. I got on TV twice last year. I got Judd Apatow's email address. I'm sending him. He's not answering, but don't worry. He's busy. Yeah. And now I'm crashing with my parents at 38 years old. The other day, my dad asked me if I had brushed my teeth. I want to be like, motherfucker, I got great pubes. What are we doing here? And unless you start knocking, you're going to find out real soon. This dude is not knocking. Or he's knocking, but he's doing the knock as he opens the door. It's bullshit. Yeah, I feel like my dad is trying to catch me jerking off. Because he didn't catch me as a teenager, and I feel like he thinks that's something we missed out on. Did I brush my teeth? No, motherfucker, I'm going to ride my bicycle. Leave me alone. Yes, I have my helmet. Shut up. Oh, man. I'll tell you this. I didn't think I was going to be headed into my 40s masturbating with headphones again, but here we are. real. I got one Bose noise canceling headphone on one ear. I got one eye on the door. What are you guys clapping at? You know how hard it is to catch a nut when you're in full panic mode? I'm just terrified my dad's gonna come bursting in at any moment. Like, you got a new Architectural Digest. People say all the time too, you're in Florida, that must be so relaxing. It's like, yeah, if your idea of relaxing is my dad trying to catch me jerking off every 20 minutes, sure. And it's not even just the coming in, like the other day, it's 7 in the morning, I'm asleep. I hear thwack, 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 thwack. I'm like, what the fuck, are we getting invaded? I roll over, my dad's in my room, knee pads on, crowbar, pulling up the flooring. I'm like, Jimmy, what are you doing? And he's like, buddy, they're coming to replace the rug. 3 weeks. We got to get this out of here right now. I can't even get mad at him. You know what I mean? Because my dad just has that dad brain. My dad has a dad brain. He can't turn it off. And the fucked up part is, too, now I have that brain, too. Like, I'm just wired that way. That's the craziest thing about living with your parents at this age. You get to see the people who installed your character defects. I'll just be sitting there at dinner and I'll just be like, oh, fuck, that's why I cry in the shower. That's it, right there. It's been insane. I'm living in an old folks community right now. I know. Or my mom will say, this isn't an old folks community. This is not a 55 plus community. And that's true, because there are 3 other people right now who are living there who are also crashing with their parents. And we see each other every day on our walks and give each other knowing looks like, yeah, we fucked up. We shouldn't have followed our dreams. I should have took that bus driver's test. I could be in a union right now. Yeah? This is totally true. Before COVID, my dream was to have my own television show. Now it's just to be able to pick my own television show. Did you guys know that there are 376 shows that take place in Alaska and my dad watches every one of them? I've actually figured out how I'm gonna get my own TV show. I'm just gonna move to Alaska. Yeah, and I'm gonna tell jokes to bears and it's gonna be called Alaska's Got Talent. Oh man, it's been wild too. My parents got the Rona while I was down here, which is crazy. Yeah, I know, they're okay, they're good, which is nice. You guys okay? You're like, I don't know, they sound kind of shitty, dude. No, they were great. That was my favorite part about my parents getting COVID, is that they were okay. Actually, my favorite part about my parents getting COVID is the fact that I know I didn't give my parents COVID. Yeah, it's like that same feeling as when you find out your ex is pregnant and you know you're not the dad. You're like, I didn't do that, it wasn't me, I'm cool. Yeah, that is every man's biggest fear, is that he's gonna get his ex pregnant. Like for every man, no relationship is actually over till 28 days after that relationship. Yeah, for men, a relationship is like a sentence. It's not over till the period. I got that same app on my phone. I'm not shocked my parents got the Rona, though. Mostly because of the fact that my mom is way too friendly. My mom is the sweetest woman on earth. Like, my mom would open mouth kiss a stranger if they asked her nicely. She'd be like, they seem sad, they asked, I don't know. And old people here in Florida would walk up to you without a mask because they're all just ready to die. Yeah, they're like a Biggie Smalls album. Yeah, they're hoping for life after death. My parents were good about the mask, though. I was really proud of them for that. That was some people hated the mask. I had no problem with them. I'm a fan of science. Yeah. I like that I can freeball this face to the world now, though. Don't get me wrong. I was actually on a hike a couple months ago with one of my friends, and I was wearing my mask, and he was giving me shit about it. He was like, why are you wearing that mask right now, dude? There's nobody else around. And I was like, I wear this mask for the same reason I wear a condom. Because I don't know who the fuck was there before me. Yeah, masks were like condoms for your face. Like whenever I saw a dude out in public not rocking a mask, I just assumed his dick was riddled with STDs. Yeah, I imagine that dick looked like an old banana, you know? Very spotty, little yellow, kind of crooked. Also, by the way, you know that dude who's rocking a mask with his nose just sticking over the top? That's the dude who asks, hey, can I put in just the tip? Also, by the way, men, the tip is the worst part. That's where the cum comes out of. Stop asking to put that in. Yeah, like if a dude's, like ladies, if a dude says, hey, can I put in just the tip, you'd be better off going, hey, how about just the balls? Because that's where they keep the cum, but nobody's getting pregnant, you know what I mean? Like, you'd be better off going in soft and sideways. That's all I'm trying to say. My friend too was giving me shit too. He was like, I feel like you're wearing that mask because you don't trust me. And I was like, yeah, motherfucker, I don't. He was like, that's fucked up. Why don't you trust me? And I was like, dude, you got herpes from a stripper in Dallas in your 30s. Like, if that shit happened in your 20s, I understand. People make mistakes. And he was like, that's fucked up. You know I was drunk. And I was like, motherfucker, I was blacked out from 13 to 29, and my dick still looks like it rolled off the factory floor. That's not totally true. I got this one weird scar in the bottom, but we don't have time to get into that tonight. Yeah, just know I was 13. I was wearing a condom to the mall. I was trying to be ready at all times. Yeah, there was a manager of Forever 21 I was very fond of. Maybe today, maybe today. I actually had to move twice during the pandemic. The first time I moved because my girlfriend wanted a much nicer place. The second time I moved because my girlfriend did not want me in that place. Yeah, I went through a little bit of a COVID breakup. We did what's called a conscious uncoupling. Do you guys know what that is? Yeah, that's when you break up, but you still have 6 months left on that lease. Yeah. And it's weird when you live with your ex, because when you live with your ex, you can't have sex, you can't have sex with anyone else, and you can't leave dishes in the sink. So by weird, I mean it's exactly like still dating my ex. I should have seen that shit coming too, because when we first started dating, she said to me, hey, I think we should write our names in all of our books in case we break up. Yeah, I'm not an English professor, but I believe that's what they call foreshadowing. And now I'm single for the first time in a decade. It's crazy. 10 years. I haven't been single in 10 years. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. It's wild. Like, I was with this woman for 6 years. Before that, I was married for 4.5 years. Like, the last time I was single, Barack Obama was in his first term as president. Tinder hadn't been invented yet, and people weren't openly talking about eating ass. Yeah, the times have changed. These 20-year-olds, they're psychos. They're out there eating ass. I don't give a fuck. I'm not doing it. Call me old-fashioned. I'll do anything but eat your ass. Actually, that's what I'm gonna write on my Tinder profile. I'll do anything but eat your ass. I'll co-sign on a loan. I got great credit. I got an 810. Yeah, I don't know if you know shit about credit scores. That's a fucking good one. I own a 2016 Toyota Prius, paid for it in cash with dick jokes. I own a car. I'm not eating your asshole. Fuck off. This is totally true. This is totally true. 20-year-olds were actually eating so much ass at the beginning of the pandemic. New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo had to send out an email telling them to calm down on the eating ass. Do you know how much ass you have to eat to get the government involved? I imagine it's ass by the pounds. I do not know. 20-year-olds, you're gross. Knock it off. It's disgusting. I shouldn't talk shit, though. I was the grossest 20-year-old in the world. I think between the years of like 2001 and 2011, I brushed my teeth like 3 times. I know, I might as well have been eating ass. My breath already tasted like it. Also, 20-year-old men, Irish Spring, that is not soap. That is the government cheese of soap. Knock it off. Get yourself something with an oatmeal in it, something that exfoliates. You're worth it. You know what? I'm lying to you guys. I probably would have ate ass in my 20s. I probably would have, because I didn't have any confidence in my 20s. I didn't really like myself that much in my 20s. That's why I drank a lot in my 20s. And alcohol, the reason was alcohol will give you confidence. And I know that for a fact, because one time when I was drunk, I invited a woman back to my apartment when I knew I didn't have electricity. Yeah, she came too. Or she didn't come, but she like showed up and then left. You guys know what I mean. That's not even the most embarrassing thing I ever did in my 20s. This is totally true. One time while I was having sex with a woman, I said to her, "I can't believe you're letting me do this right now." Yeah, I know. Have you ever seen someone realize they made a mistake while you're inside of them? I know. I don't know what the opposite of getting wet is, but I definitely did that for her, so that was kind of cool. I got to feel like a magician. I was like, where once there was a river, now there's a desert. I actually said ta-da at the end. It was pretty fucked up. I feel bad for people in their 20s. The 20s is the hardest period in your life. Nobody tells you that. The 20s is the roughest period in your life. Your 20s is like a second puberty, but instead of getting hair on your balls, you have to learn how to pay your own vision and dental. It's bullshit. It's so hard. Like when you're in your 20s and you go through a breakup, you're like, oh my God, my life's over. I don't know what I'm gonna do. When you're in your 30s and you go through a breakup, you're like, oh my God, I need a new fucking mattress. Like when I was in my 20s and I was so poor and broke living in New York City, starting out in stand-up comedy, my room was so small, I couldn't have a regular sized bed in there. I had to have a bunk bed. Yeah, try being 26 and picking up a woman with a bunk bed. She'd be like, hey, you want to go back to your place? And I'd have to be like, hey, are you afraid of heights? And you can't have crazy wild sex in a bunk bed. That shit's not happening. There's only two positions, sideways and disappointed. That's it. Yeah, like if a girl has to get on top, that means I'm underneath the bed jerking off. I used to tell women too that I had a loft bed, but then they thought we were going back to make love in my loft apartment. When the truth is they were about to get side fucked in what used to be somebody's coat closet. Also, 20-year-old dudes in here, I want to give you a piece of advice. Because I had a hard time with women in my 20s, and I want to tell you this because I want a woman to fuck you more than once, right? Yeah, because here's the thing. If you're a 20-year-old man and you're in here, there is a device that you can buy that you can keep in your bedroom that will greatly increase the chances of a woman having an orgasm, and it will greatly increase her chances of her coming back to have sex with you again. And it's a very simple device. You can get it anywhere, and it's called a bed frame. You hear that? Those are some women who fucked some starving artists right there. Yeah. Get your fucking mattress off the floor. No woman wants to be fucking a dude whose mattress is on the floor. Look, and I'm not even saying that shit needs to be like West Elm. Get fucking 4 cinder blocks and a piece of plywood. Yeah. Yeah. They'll be like, he has goals, he has aspirations, he has hopes. No woman wants to be banging a dude and be reminded how close she is to her bottom. Both physically, emotionally, and mentally. I'm not even trying to fuck anybody right now. I'm sure, I don't give a fuck right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like in your 20s, you're trying to fuck, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not available right now. I'm not. Like, and I'm not in a relationship, and I'm not single. What this is happily alone. That's what I am right now. Yeah, it's the best. It's the best. I know someone will fuck me in my 30s. That's the difference. Like, I know someone will fuck me now because I have skills. I bring shit to the table. You know what I mean? Like, I know how to roast a whole chicken. Yeah, I own a La Creuset. That's French cookware. Someone will fuck me. 20-year-old men, pick up skills, buy spices. Spices are the things that go in cabinets. Cabinets are what I used to put empty Jack Daniels bottles on top of. Yeah, because I thought that was art in my 20s. I was like, look at all I've accomplished. But now, I'm not trying to fuck any of these people. I could give a shit. Because here's the thing, I like me now. I didn't like me in my 20s. So now if you want to fuck me, you got to be cool. You got to like bring shit to the table. Like if you want to fuck me, you got to have a 401k. Because one of us is going to need it. And also, by the way, I don't need anyone to fuck me now because I can fuck me. Yeah. Yeah, and after I fuck me, I'm gonna watch the movie I wanna watch. Yeah, I'm never watching Gilmore Girls again. That shit's over. I don't give a fuck what's happening in Stars Hollow right now. I don't know what it is about my dick, but apparently it pairs very well with Gilmore Girls. Like if my dick was on Netflix, Netflix would be like, you also might like the Gilmore Girls. I don't want to make it sound like I'm anti-relationship, though. I love relationships. I think relationships are amazing. Like, the last relationship I was in was incredible. The woman was great. I learned so much during that relationship, and I grew a lot during it. And by that, I mean I got fat as fuck. I got so fat in that relationship, but I feel like that's nature's way of telling you you're in love. You know what I mean? Like, nature's like, ice cream, donuts, you're not going anywhere, buddy. Like, have you ever seen one of your friends after they start dating somebody new and you see them coming and you're like, oh, shit. And they're like, dude, Stephanie's amazing. I'm in love. And you're like, I can tell, you're rocking a 2X right now. I didn't know diabetes was a side effect of love. Happy for your heart, worried for your toes. My whole goal after my breakup is I just wanted to become an internet thirst trap. You literally covered your mouth on that. It was great. I know. Thank you. And so far, I've lost 37 pounds since the... Thank you. And so far after shows, 2 women have slid into my DMs. Thank you. I have not responded yet. I'm just way too nervous. Not that I think this sex will be bad, I'm just afraid we'll pop my blow-up mattress. There's actually a term for when you have sex on a blow-up mattress. It's called dry docking. Yeah. It's not because you're having sex outside of a pool, it's just because no woman can get wet while getting fucked on top of a flotation device. Should I have said WAP? Do you think that would have been funnier there if I said WAP? Okay. Everyone knows what WAP is, right? Or WAP, depending on, yeah. Yeah, I guess, yeah, I mean, if Bernie Sanders knows who Cardi B is, everyone's gonna know who Cardi B is, right? Like if Bernie Sanders is at home with a mitten stirring a pot of macaroni, like, yeah, it does kind of sound like pussy, so. After the breakup, I decided I was going to come here to Florida to see my parents, stay with my folks, and I was worried about Corona, so I was like, I'm going to camp the whole way. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just not going to stay in hotels. And I don't know if you guys can tell from my vibe so far, I'm not much of a camping guy. Like, I don't know shit about camping. Okay, so how do I get into this? So I had to take a shit in a garbage bag in the woods, okay? And I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, very windy state. Not the state to be shitting in a garbage bag in the woods. Gale force winds in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I picked a place called Pack Out, which literally means you have to take your shit with you, which I didn't know. And I was talking to my manly camper friend about it, and he was like, well, what technique did you use? And I was like, technique? I shat into a bag in the woods. And he was like, yeah, but you went through the legs, right? And I was like, oh no, I went full skier. And he was like, full skier? I was like, yeah, you know, full skier? Like, you know when they're taking off at the Olympics? That was me, and I was going for the bronze. And here's the thing, I open my car door to try to block the wind, but wind can go under car doors, lifting garbage bags, basically making me look like a giant beaver shitting in the woods. Let's put it this way, I've now officially been camping 0 times, I've shit on my hand once, so... And it's weird when you shit on your hands in the woods. I imagine it's a lot like when you bury a body in the woods. Like, there's a lot of wet wipes involved and you hope no one ever finds out about it. Yeah, I got hotels the next 2 nights too because I would rather get COVID than shit on my hands again. It's wild. Me and the ex, we were fucking serious, man. We were talking about whether or not we wanted to get married. Clearly not. What happened was her little 4-year-old niece just walked up to me in Disneyland in front of her whole entire family and just went, "Why won't you marry my aunt?" I know, it was like, hey kid, shut the fuck up. I didn't actually say that. I love her. She's the greatest. But I couldn't tell her the truth, you know? I couldn't be like, well, your aunt's been married before and she's still working through some shit spiritually, so pretty much it's on her at this point. So. The truth, it was scary because we had both been married before, so we both knew how hard it was, and we both knew how much a fucking wedding cost. This is totally true. Average cost of a wedding in New York City, where I'm originally from, $60,000. Yeah, you guys know $60,000, right? Like the amount of money I made in my 20s if we round up by $37,000. $60,000. This is why I feel like young people shouldn't be allowed to get married. Or not that young people shouldn't be allowed to get married, but you should have to be married like 5 years before you can throw yourself a wedding. Because like young people don't know what to do with money. Young people are like, we'll be fine. Old people are like, no, you won't. Like if you ask any older couple who's been married for more than 5 years if they were throwing themselves a wedding, hey, do you want to spend $10,000 on appetizers? They'd be like, you can go to hell. Because older couples know nobody gives a shit about the appetizers at your wedding. Like people only care about one thing at a wedding, and it's not your love, it's the open bar. You could have 6 kegs of beer and some Totino's pizza rolls, and people would still be like, this is a pretty good wedding. I also feel like you should have to go on your honeymoon before you get married. That's something I believe. I think you should have to go on your honeymoon. Some people say live together before you get married. I think honeymoon. Because if you can't get along in Hawaii, you're sure as shit not gonna make it in Cleveland. And also, by the way, no more destination weddings. I'm out, I'm done. I'm not renewing my passport to watch you make a mistake. And also, by the way, if you do have a destination wedding and you get divorced in the first 5 years, we're all getting refunds now. And you're flying us to your divorce, and you're having it somewhere fun like Acapulco. My idiot Guido cousin, yeah, and I say Guido in the meanest way possible. And if you don't know what a Guido is, it's just a dude who's covered in hundreds of tattoos of Jesus bleeding. He'd be like, hey Sal, what's the last religious thing you did? And he'll be like, what are you talking about? I just gave up fingering for Lent. All right, peace be with you, buddy. Patron saint of meatballs, that guy. On his Scarface wedding, he spent $180,000. Yeah, $180,000 so his bride could feel like a princess for the day. When for $180,000, she could have became the actual queen of Detroit. Very cheap property there. $180,000, and I don't even remember that much about that wedding. Isn't that crazy? Or I remember 2 things. There were giant marble staircases she had to walk down before we could eat, and there were piles of cheese stacked up like blow. Like so much cheese, if anyone ate all this cheese, they wouldn't shit for 3 years. Isn't that crazy? I went to a wedding that cost as much as 7 Kia Souls. All I remember, stairs, cheese. That's it. That's fucked up. Like, that's nuts. They spent $180,000 on a wedding. Only thing they had to show for it at the end of that wedding was a photo album of them spending $180,000. Once again, this is why I feel like young people shouldn't be allowed to get married. Because if that was any older couple, if you gave any older couple the option between you could have a photo album to remember this day for the rest of your life, or you could afford a stackable washer and dryer. Yeah, there's not an old there's not an old couple who isn't like, give me the fucking Whirlpool, baby. A mother of 3 would kick her own pastor in the pussy for in-unit laundry. But young people are like, no, we need that photo album. We need to remember this day for the rest of our lives. Bullshit. I've been married. I'm divorced. I got one of those photo albums. I'm not doing shit with it. But I know what I'm gonna do with it. I'm gonna Photoshop my new girlfriend's face on top of my ex-wife's face. Yeah, and then when I propose to her, I'm gonna give her that photo album and be like, hey, I just saved us $10,000. I got divorced. I got divorced for the main reason most people get divorced. I picked wrong. Yeah. I went with opposites attract. Yeah. Opposites also fuck a bartender named Craig. So. Oh, do you guys think I fucked Craig? I didn't fuck Craig. I could have though. Don't get weird about it. I like to think of Craig's dick as like the iceberg on the Titanic. It got me off the ship. Also, by the way, if you're in here and you're in your 20s and you're thinking about getting married right now, don't fucking do it. Statistically, people get married in their 20s versus people who wait till their 30s don't make it. Like, let's put it this way. If you bought an unframed poster in the past decade, you're not ready to be married. You're not responsible enough to be part of a joint checking account. This is totally true. On my honeymoon, I bought a Nirvana t-shirt. I could have just told you that and you would have been like, divorced. Also, by the way, if you're in here in your 20s right now and you're thinking about getting a tattoo, don't fucking do it. Your taste, much like the person you're here with now, gonna change. Like when I was in my 20s, I wanted to get a Dave Matthews Band tattoo. Yeah, now as an adult, I know I don't like Dave Matthews Band. I just like being drunk outside. That's not totally true. I mean, I loved being drunk outside, but I just celebrated 8 years sober, which is crazy. Thanks. Thank you. Thanks a bunch. It's funny. It's funny. Sometimes I'll tell people that, and they'll be like, "But you smoke weed, though, right?" And I'm like, "Sober," and they're like, "So weed." That's like a guy going to a girl who's like, "I'm a virgin. I'm saving myself for marriage," and the dude's like, "So butt stuff, right?" I didn't quit smoking weed, though, because I had a problem with weed. I quit smoking weed because I got tired of looking for my cell phone with the flashlight on my cell phone. And it's fucking... And it's crazy now because weed is just illegal in so many states around the country. You can just walk into a store and buy weed over the counter. It's nuts. Like when I was a kid, if you wanted to buy weed, you had to go to like a parking lot or a substitute teacher. Yeah, you had to beep a guy. There was a protocol involved. I'm worried about these kids. They're not going to have life skills. And now there's all these different kinds of weed. It's crazy. There's like indica, sativa, Bubba Kush, Northern Lights. Like, it's nuts. Like... When I was a kid, there was only 2 kinds of weed. There was dirt weed and there was laced weed. That's it. You're either not getting high or getting way too fucking high. Like, this is totally true. First 2 times I smoked weed, nothing happened. Third time I smoked weed, it was PCP. I'm happy you enjoyed that, miss, because I did not. Has anyone here ever been so high that they watched cartoons for 2 hours and then realized the television wasn't on? Yeah, turns out Mitt Romney, not one of the Powerpuff Girls. And here's the thing about when you smoke angel dust. It's gonna last a lot longer than you were planning. And you're 15 and you got a curfew and you gotta be home real soon. And you know who's gonna notice that you're on PCP right away? Your mom. She's gonna pick some shit up. And I don't know what gave me away, the fact that I wasn't wearing a t-shirt or it was December in New York, but she knew. And as soon as I walked through the door, my mom was like, "Are you high right now?" And I was like, "No, I'm on Goldschlager." That's what I told her. I just admitted to a completely different crime. That's how I know I can never commit an actual crime. Because if a cop was ever like, "Have you been drinking and driving?" I'd be like, "No, I murdered a drifter." So. Good to go? Good to go. And the craziest thing too now is like, even though I'm sober, I travel around, and it's crazy to me when I go to a state that doesn't have legal weed, because it's always for like the most bullshit excuses. They're like, "Well, what if the kids get it? They'll get cooler taste in music. They'll be fine." And people are like, "Yeah, but it's a gateway drug." And I'm like, "Yeah, to reggae. They'll be fine." Like, by a round of applause, how many people in here have smoked weed before? Yeah, my favorite are the people who are high now because they raise their hand. Present. Present. I'm here. Now, by a round of applause, how many people have done heroin? Yeah, that's a pretty thin game. Not one of us managed to shimmy through it. That's why I'm scared to have kids, you know? I'm scared to have kids because I don't want to pass these shitty Irish alcoholic genes down to my children, you know? Like, I don't want to just give them these Irish genes of mild depression and varicose veins. My biggest fear about having kids, though, is I'm afraid that I'm gonna have a girl. And more so, I'm afraid that I'm gonna have a girl who looks like me. And I don't mean like the little girl version of me. I mean like me now, currently. Because we've all seen that girl who looks like her dad, and she looks like a little 40-year-old plumber. And I don't want to do that shit to my baby girl. Like, picture me in pigtails and a dress. Yeah, no one's fucking that kid. Or not. I didn't mean it like that. I mean, no one's fucking that 35-year-old adult. 35's weirder, I think, actually. What age do I want my daughter to get fucked at? Yeah. 17. Yeah. 17, prom night. He got a motel, some candles. If you're fucking my baby, you're spending some money. Yeah. Kevin from the baseball team, strong hands. Maybe a catcher, you know? Okay, that one's too far. Look, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I've never talked about this on stage before. I never will again, so. I know 35's too old. I don't want my daughter walking around at 35 like, one day my prince will come and so will I. Yeah, we've all seen those people out in the world running through a park, yelling at pigeons like, get out of my way, I have a doctorate. Speaking of the unfucked, I got a good story I can add in here. Right before everything shut down, I went to Vegas to see a concert with all my friends. We went to go see Elton John play the Farewell Yellow Brick Road tour. Unreal. He played for 3.5 hours. In that whole set, there was one song I didn't know. And when that song came on, I was like, perfect time to get a t-shirt. So I went down to get a t-shirt, and they had that shit roped off like Space Mountain, and I went to the wrong side. And I looked around, no one was there. I was like, fuck it, I'm going underneath. And the second I go underneath, I just hear, now, like I'm a puppy shitting on a carpet. And I just look up, and there's this red-faced woman storming towards me, and I'm like, oh my God, miss, I'm so sorry, I didn't see you, please go right ahead of me. She's like, you goddamn right I'm gonna go ahead of you, you jerk. My friend's like, why is he a jerk? He's letting you go ahead of him. And she's like, shut up, you shithead. Who gets that angry at an Elton John concert? I'll tell you, a lady who hasn't cummed in 100 years. Yeah. And in that moment, I just burst out laughing, and she goes, you know what? Go fuck yourself. And I was like, you know what? I did earlier today. That's probably why I'm being pretty chill about this whole thing right now. Maybe if you would have went and fucked yourself, we wouldn't be in this situation right now. Yeah, we'd both be back in our seats listening to Tiny Dancer. Maybe we need to get you a pocket rocket man of love. How did I get on that story? Oh, I was talking about my daughter no one would fuck. Okay, here we go. She'd have way too hard of a life growing up. She'd show up for like her first day of school, and they'd be like, what do you want to be when you grow up, little girl? And she'd be like, princess! And they'd be like, how about heating and cooling technician? Women also just have it way harder than dudes. That's why I'm scared to have a daughter, because women have to deal with way more fucking bullshit than men do. Like right now, they're trying to ban abortion again. That shit's crazy to me. Like it's also never gonna happen though. Mostly because of the fact that no millennials can afford to have kids. None of us. Yeah, you wanna know I know that? Every millennial I know is still in their parents' phone family plan. Yeah. Like if you can't afford T-Mobile, you can't afford a baby. Like the only way millennials could afford to have kids is if 7 of us shared one, like an HBO Max password. Also, women have to deal with the luxury tax. That's another bullshit thing women have to deal with. It's an extra 7 to 10% tax on top of pads, tampons, period shit. It's bullshit. I said that in Cleveland a couple months ago. This dude in the front row was like, good. And I was like, I hope a woman free bleeds all over the front seat of your Volvo. My Diva Cup crew over here. I know my ex was afraid to have kids too. I know that because she said to me, you better not get me pregnant. I know, and she said it just like that. Like we were 2 partners in a buddy cop film who hadn't started trusting each other yet. Like she was just like, you better not get me pregnant. I panicked, and I was like, well, you better watch your back. Yeah, because that's where I'm gonna put it. You guys get the point. I'm just kidding. She would never let me do that. Very sexually progressive, just hates a mess. Here's the thing. I don't want to get anyone pregnant. I'd like to have kids one day, but those are 2 totally different things. Like one of them involves a birthing plan, the other the word oops. Like, yeah, like when I have kids, I want to use words like excited and ecstatic. I don't want to make the same sounds as if I just dropped some red wine on a carpet. Just like, oh fuck! Oh shit, I'm so sorry! I could totally pay to have that taken out. Oh, fuck you guys. Don't know about that joke. Yeah, applauding was the right response. 1 in 3 women have had an abortion. So right now, if you're here with like your mom, your sister, and your aunt, you're all statistically making one of them very uncomfortable. Yeah, I'm a feminist. I am. I'm a male feminist. Or not male feminist. I got yelled at for that shit the other day. You're not supposed to gender it. I don't know why I'm smiling while saying that. This is totally true. One time I played North Carolina, and I told a dude there I was a male feminist, and I swear to God, I think he thought I meant transgendered. He was just like, so which bathroom do you pee in? And I was like, we can't have a conversation. Just give me the fucking Slurpee. Also, by the way, I couldn't even get my ex pregnant. Like, she had an IUD. My sperm is not stronger than science. And also, for those of you men in here who don't know what an IUD is, it's this little tiny crossbow that your girlfriend puts inside. Yeah. That's exactly what it looks like. It looks like you're trying to hunt the predator down there. Or she doesn't put it in there, a doctor puts it in there. If she put it in there, don't fuck that lady. Like, if she got like a Kmart do-it-at-home kind of kit, you don't bang that lady. You marry that lady. She's thrifty. I wish they made an IUD for dudes. I really do. I think that would be incredible if they made an IUD for men. But instead of stopping dudes from getting pregnant, it would just stop us from sleeping with women we shouldn't have kids with. Yeah. We could call it something like dignity. Self-respect, any of these names work. They better have a form of male birth control by the time I have a son. I'm not letting that kid go free swinging that dick in the streets. No way. I know what kind of stock my kid came from. I wish my parents would have kept my dick in a box till I was 28 years old. Then at least I'd have like an associate's degree. Yeah. Now when I fill out paperwork, I have to check some college. I might as well write in all alcoholism. I also just had my first pregnancy scare when I was super young. I was way too young. I was 13 years old. Yeah, I know. I don't look like a guy who was fucking at 13. I look like a man who's still saving himself for the Lord now. 13, that's way too young. You wanna know how I know it's too young? I showed up on rollerblades to find out about it. I got there and she was like, you're probably gonna wanna take those off for this. And here's the crazy part too. When she told me, I swear to God, I was like, well, I'm definitely losing my allowance over this shit. By the way, I was not planning on having sex at 13. I didn't think I was like the man, you know what I mean? What happened was my parents were afraid I was already having sex, so my mom put condoms in my top drawer and told me they could be used on your wedding night, but they're there if you need them. I know, cool ass mom. And I told my girlfriend and she was like, we need them. I know, and I was like, thank you, mommy! My favorite part about that story too is even the fact that I got to have sex. It means that there was a day where my mom and my dad went to a CVS together, walked down that condom aisle, had to look at the 24-pack, the 12-pack, and the 3-pack, and they had to ask themselves, how much do we believe in this kid? They went with the 3-pack, appropriate amount. They knew their baby boy. But I was smart. I was smart. I didn't want my parents to know I was having sex, so I did my own little CVS condom recon mission, right? And I go to that CVS and I walk down that condom aisle and there's literally hundreds of condoms. And I don't know what to do. I'm 13. I'm looking at all these condoms and I don't know what to get. And all of a sudden I see the ones that say Magnums. And I'm like, Magnums, that sounds cool. So I pick up the Magnums and I go to take them up to the front, but I get some like other shit to camouflage them in with, you know what I mean? Like I pick up my Flintstones chewables, peanut M&Ms. Head up to the front and the lady starts checking me out and then she gets to the Magnums. She looks at the Magnums, looks at me and just goes, yeah, these aren't for you. And she was right. She was doing me a solid. I would have been tying the other half off as a water balloon. So. They better have a fucking IUD for my son. That's all I'm saying. This is totally true. I was on stage in Cleveland, Ohio a couple months ago, and while I was on stage talking about IUDs, this lady just yells out from the back of the room, they don't know where mine is. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, it's just kind of lost inside of me. And I was like, what are you doing here? And she was like, the doctor said it'll resurface. Resurface? What is it, a fucking Russian submarine? Like, was someone going down Periscope on your puss and just knock that thing loose? Do we need to go on a hunt for the Red October right now? That's not even the craziest part of this story. After the show, I'm outside, I'm meeting the audience, shaking hands, taking pictures. Totally different woman comes up to me and she's like, yeah, IUDs, they're crazy. And I was like, yeah? And she was like, yeah, every 2 weeks you gotta get in there and you gotta check for the strings. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, every 2 weeks you gotta get in there and you gotta check for the strings. And I was like, I don't have to do anything. These people in Cleveland. My son's getting that fucking IUD. I got fears about having kids. It's not even just that. Like, I don't want to pass my shitty genes down to my kids. Now, I was born severely dyslexic, and I was born with a form of nerve damage in my hands. It caused my hands to shake. It's the reason why every Instagram video I'm in looks like a boomerang. It's also the reason why every conversation I've ever had with the cops has ended with, yeah, I'm still gonna have to look in the trunk. I love my shaking hands now, though. Of all my disabilities, shaking hands is definitely my favorite one. As a kid, I was super embarrassed by it. It made me feel super weird. Now it's way more fun, and I'm not just talking about sexually. Like, think about the most boring thing in your guys' life, for example. Like, think about soup, for example. For you guys, soup, very boring. For me, soup is like an action movie. The people I'm sitting at the table with are like, I don't know if he's gonna make it! Spoiler alert, I never make it. I'm so dyslexic too. I'm super dyslexic. Like, I'm so dyslexic, I'd say after this show, go ahead and follow me on Twitter if you hate spelling and grammar and love puzzles. By the way, the guy who came up with the name and spelling for dyslexia, huge asshole. Like, what's their problem? They can't read or spell too well? Let's throw a silent Y in there. Why? Because fuck them, it'll be funny for the rest of us. As a dyslexic person, texting is a nightmare. The only thing worse than texting, sexting. Yeah, because this is my job. I travel for a living. I'm normally on the road like 40 weekends out of the year, and it's very hard to keep it spicy with the woman you're dating when she thinks you're constantly trying to slide into her Virginia. But then Talk to Text came out, and that shit was like a game changer for me. But even that would have its hiccups, because I'd be like, ooh, do you like that? And Siri would be like, yeah, not so much. And every time I'm doing my Talk to Sex, like I said, I'm always in some hotel room, and there's always a connecting door, and I'm always terrified on the other side of that door is some sweet family on vacation. And they hear me doing my Talk to Sex, and Siri's always fucking up the words, so you gotta keep repeating yourself. So I'm just in there like, panties, panties, panties. Like, no, why would I want to wear her pastries? Fuck off. We all have our things, you know? I also have cerebral palsy. I normally don't talk about all these topics back to back because then it sounds like I'm trying to start myself a fucking foundation. Like, that's the crazy thing about having all my disabilities too. Like, you couldn't tell by looking at me. Like, if I parked in a handicap spot at a store and you saw me walk into a Target, you'd be like, I'm keying this motherfucker's car. I would fall, break a lot of bones and shit like that because of my CP. The worst for me that ever really happened when I was in 6th grade, I had to have both my legs put in walking casts to stretch my Achilles tendons out. And to cheer me up, my parents said we were gonna take a trip. Now, in your logical 12-year-old kid brain, when you hear trip, where do you think we're going? Exactly, the Hooters on Staten Island. I don't know, you guys all did that at once. That was fucking impressive. And here's the thing, I'm 38 years old. I still wonder to this day sometimes who pitched that idea, my mom or my dad. Because think about that. While I was in that doctor's office having my little fat kid legs taped up to look like giant cannolis, one of them had to be out in that waiting room like, hey, wouldn't it be funny we take the boys, see some boobies? I use that voice because I hope it was my dad. And not my mom just like, hey, you know what always cheers you up, boobies? And as soon as we walked through the door of this Hooters, my parents lied to these waitresses and told them it's my birthday. Do you guys know what they do at Hooters when it's your birthday? They make you stand on top of a plastic chair and you air jerk off salt and pepper shakers while they sing you happy birthday. Yeah, like I had to do that shit in front of my mom and dad. And I was 12. It wasn't like I didn't know what this was. It was the year jerking off showed up. And it showed up in a big way. Like the two biggest things that year in my room were masturbation and Oasis's Wonderwall. Yeah, it was a constant champagne supernova. My dad's a man's man too. My dad's a guy's guy. My dad's a New York City firefighter and a blue-collar Republican. I'm a New York City liberal and I do this for a living. I know, it is funny. Sometimes I do think to myself, like, is there any way you could be a bigger disappointment to your New York City firefighter father? Then I think, yeah, gay terrorist. Which, by the way, is what my dad calls a yoga instructor, so. Very progressive, man. My dad, like, I love my dad. I love hanging out with my dad. The only problem is when we hang out, sometimes my dad's guy friends come, and they're all like the types of guys who would like smack a chick on the ass and be like, hey, what's the matter with me? What's the matter with you? That's a compliment. You should smile more. You got a pretty face. Gentlemen. And we were at this Yankees game a couple summers ago, and this dude was like, hey, what do you do for a living, pal? Huh? What do you do? You make something with your hands? What do you do? And I was like, oh, I'm never gonna tell you. And he was like, come on, what do you do? And my dad, the Judas, told me out immediately. He's like, oh, him? He's a comedian. And they're like, oh, you comedian? Tell us a joke. Funny guy. Come on, Andrew Dice Clay, tell us a joke. To which I was like, oh, no. And that guy got pissed. He was like, sure, whatever, you're a comedian. Then he got up to get everyone else beers. But right before he leaves, he just leans in, taps me, and goes, woof, I'm sweating like a Jew in an audit here. Yeah, and they all start hysterical laughing. And then another one of them taps me and goes, now that's a comedian. No, it's not. That's just a racist with good timing. That's it. Have you ever seen one of those dudes who works out but does no cardio, so he just looks like someone ripped the arms off a He-Man and put him on a Mr. Potato Head? That was that dude, mustache and all. And he kept bragging. He kept bragging the whole game about how he got laid the night before, and he was like, last night, I totally did it with this chick, and then she left stuff in my apartment so she could come back so we could do it again. And I was like, are you sure it wasn't because she was like, oh, I gotta get the fuck out of here. The fucked up part is, though, is guys like that guy and guys like my dad make the best dads. Mostly because of the fact that their kids fear them. Like, that's not gonna be the case for my generation. Like, none of our kids are gonna fear us. Mostly because of the fact that none of us are gonna work the kinds of jobs you come home and beat your kids from. Like, nobody comes home from a hard day of graphic designing and beats their kid. Like, you've never heard anyone be like, oh no, look out, Dad's Photoshop crashed. My dad's idiot friend, too, is one of those dudes who rocks a pop collar. You ever see one of those gentlemen? Oof. Yeah, by the way, if you don't know what the pop collar means, basically what the pop collar means is that guy is 2 Bud Light Limes away from telling you what he really thinks about Puerto Ricans. He's racist. That's not a pop collar as much as it is a reverse Ku Klux Klan hoodie. And for some reason, it's salmon. And this dude was like, dude, let me give you a little bit of advice. And I was like, oh, I totally want advice from a man who's dressed like a dog that just got back from the vet. What's up? And he was like, when you date a chick, you gotta date a chick who loves sports. A chick who loves sports. And his whole logic was, it's like being with one of the guys. It's like being with one of the guys. I don't know, me personally, anytime I'm fucking anybody, I want it to be like none of the guys. Like, Like, you're never gonna hear me say, like, oh, wait until you meet my new girlfriend, Jessica. You'll totally love her. She'll totally remind you of Greg. It's not gonna happen. I did one time go out on a date with a woman who loves sports, and it clearly went terrible, because I'm like this guy, you know what I mean? And about halfway through the date, at one point, this lady just turned to me, and to my face, she just went, you know, they don't make men like they used to anymore. Yeah, I know, to my face. But the fucked up part is, I totally had to agree with her. Because if they did, I would have had to hit her for having an opinion on men. To be very clear, that is a joke about how I don't hit women. My dad's idiot friend found out I was getting divorced at the time, too. And he's like, oh, bro, you getting divorced? You better be careful, because if you end up getting divorced, she could get half of your shit. And I was like, really? That actually sounds pretty good, because right now she already has all of my shit. I'd love to get some of that back. Also, by the way, when you're broke and you're going through a divorce, it's not like you have a lot of shit to split up. It's like, oh, do you want this half-used spool of burnt CDs or this D battery? Yeah, I let her keep the D battery. This way she can put it in her vibrator and go fuck herself. Thank you. That's my favorite one, too. Also, by the way, none of you ladies come up to me after the show and be like, hey, just so you know, vibrators don't take D batteries, they take AAAs. I know that shit. Also, get yourself a fucking rechargeable. You can come and save the environment at the same time. You plug that little USB end in to the end of your laptop while you watch porn. Kill 2 clits with 1 stone. This is totally true. Before me and my ex-wife got divorced, we didn't have sex for a whole year. Yeah, I know, and we were only married 2 years. Right before we got divorced, I told her, I was like, hey, I think we should move to Portland, Oregon. And what she said to me is, oh, you should go move to the woods and go fuck yourself. Yeah, so not much would have changed. I would have just been in the woods. And then I met my new girlfriend, and we started having sex, lots of it. Yeah. We started having so much sex that after the first week, she had to get a monostat. Oh, fuck you guys, do not make that noise. 50% of the people on this planet have vaginas, and 99% of the time they get a yeast infection, it's because of one of those dirty dicks. So wash your goddamn dicks, gentlemen. Yeah, my situation was more of a lube situation. Stay away from those blue Trojan condoms with the Arma lube. Here's the thing about monostat, though. When you go to buy a lady a monostat, they duct tape that shit and they put a security sensor on it. Yeah, here's the thing. If somebody doesn't have the money to buy that, let them fucking steal it. Yeah, like if my dick was on fire and you sold fire extinguishers and I didn't have $20 to give you and you wouldn't let me use it, you're a piece of shit. Yeah, fuck you, CVS. That's what I'm trying to say with that joke. Yeah. My whole goal in comedy is I just want to get famous enough one day where I could start my own foundation, where outside of every CVS, I'm going to have like my own kind of red box situation. But instead of movies, it's just going to be filled with monostat and cranberry pills. Yeah, and all that shit's going to be free. It's going to be called the Box. Yeah, we're not going to have pads in it though, because then every 28 days, we'd still have to call it the red box. Here's the other thing about monostat. I know you weren't expecting this much monostat stuff to come out of a man in a Canadian tuxedo, but buckle up. Here we go, baby. There's 2 different one-day monostats. Why the fuck are there 2 one-day monostats? It's in the name, one. That should be it. There's an ovule and there's a preloaded stick. I fucked up. I bought the wrong one. And then I brought it home and I showed it to my girlfriend at the time. And she was like, oh, I can't use this because if I use it, it'll burn like the wrath of Allah. Yeah, direct quote. She's very funny. And I was like, no problem, I'm a man, I'll bring this shit back. I don't give a fuck, but I forgot the bag and the receipt at home. And as soon as I walked through the door of that CVS, what do you think happens? Yeah, that fucking security sensor went off, and I pulled a monostat out of my pocket, and the security guard looked at me like I just opened up a vest of dynamite. He just looked down on the floor and was like, do whatever the fuck you gotta do and get out of here. So I went and got preloaded stick, and I took stick and ovule up to the counter, and I said to the lady, I need to exchange this for this. And she goes, oh, fuck, yeah, no problem. She goes, I just need your receipt. And I go, oh, my God, I left it at home in the bag. And she goes, oh, without a receipt, I can't help you. CVS policy. Fuck CVS. And I panicked. I did the only thing I could think to do, and I just leaned over to the counter. I put my hand on this lady's hand. I said, lady, look, I know you got a heart, but you also got a pussy, so let's make this thing happen. Yeah, she let me do it. I exchanged stick for ovule. There was a $1 price difference. She put it on a gift card for me, and I bought some Rolos. Came home a hero. All right, thanks a lot, guys. I've been J.F. Harris.